6:30 in the morning, 60 degrees in South Texas. I was down here last night, went out to my stand and saw the wind was dead wrong for where I was gonna sit. So I ended up just sitting about 200 yards back and just glassing. Saw a whole bunch of deer, and then overnight the wind switched around, so looking good for this morning. So I'm gonna go get in my stand, walk in. Got a little bit before shooting light, not too long, so I'm gonna hurry up, but sit in there. And my goal for today is hopefully I can take a nice doe. If a real nice buck shows up, awesome. If it's just an okay buck, well, I'm gonna wait till gun season, but I'm gonna go sit, see what happens.
I had only been in the stand about 10 minutes before deer started trickling into the twilight, even before the feeder went off. By 7:15, I had about a dozen deer standing right in front of me. There was a spike, several does, and then 2 small bucks. One looked like a 7-point and the other was an 8. They weren't bucks that I was eager to take in early season. Most of the does had fawns, but a few didn't. It was nice to be able to sit and watch them for a while to figure out which pairs went together. I'm not totally opposed to taking a doe with a fawn, but if I have the choice, I'd rather take a dry young doe without a fawn. This is a very arid area of southwest Texas, so none of the does tend to get very big around here. I picked out a young doe who did not seem to have a fawn. When she turned broadside, I let an arrow fly. She reacted severely to the sound of the shot. I had been lined up right on the lungs, but as the arrow approached, she dropped and the arrow went right over her back. The spark is my broadhead striking a rock. Moments later, the scattered herd regrouped and very nervously walked back in towards the feeder. They were obviously on edge, but they wanted to regroup and go back to the food. It was interesting to note that one fawn still had traces of spots even in late October. I identified the doe that I had taken a shot at earlier. She was again all by herself, but this time significantly more nervous and twitchy than the rest of the deer. I decided this is a deer that's been educated and is very aware, and is still a prime candidate to be taken out of the herd. I drew my bow back to give it another try.
Well, this morning was interesting to say the least. Got in the stand about 6:45. Feeder went off at 7, and right after that deer started trickling in. It probably wasn't even 7:10 before they started to show up. Saw a doe with a fawn come right under me. Another doe without a fawn. Little spike I've been seeing before. A couple small bucks. One was a bigger bodied 8-point. He was right at the ears, so not a real big horn buck. Not something I want to shoot in early season. So if I still have my buck tag towards the end of the season, he'll get it, but not something I want to shoot right now. But they all came in. There was one doe who was especially spooky. So I waited for her to come around, lined up a shot, because that's the one I wanted to take out, because she was going to blow the whole thing, if any of them were. So lined up, took a shot. I missed, or she jumped the string. Not sure what happened, but she did react to it. But all I know is I didn't hit her. They all ran off, circled downwind. Fortunately, they didn't get downwind of me. They came in a little too wide, because I knew the wind was coming this way. So they came downwind of the feeder where they were standing earlier. Worked back in. I saw that one doe again. really waited and waited and waited for her to come all the way around, and when she did, I finally lined up a shot on her, hit her, and she went down immediately and then was laying there twitching for a second. So at first I thought I spined her, but then thinking back about the shot, I hit her right behind the shoulder. It looked good. So I'm not quite sure what happened. It looked like a good shot. She did go down, so it definitely can harvest that deer. It was just a little weird that, I don't know, she dropped immediately and that she was laying there twitching. So I'm gonna go check that out right now. Well, if you get squeamish or don't like seeing blood or dead animals, this is the point to look away. Just giving you a heads up. So walked up to the doe. As I walked up, she kicked and started bleeding. So I didn't like that. Don't like seeing an animal suffer. So I went and pulled out my knife and had to finish her off. But looking at it, that was the shot. Doesn't look bad. Had to knife her. Dug in pretty deep just because I don't like seeing an animal suffer, so I wanted to shut her down pretty quick. Let's flip her over. So decent blood. Okay, so I guess the shot was a little high. Yeah, the shot was definitely a bit high. So that's why. Well, don't like seeing an animal suffer, so that's why I got down and wanted to cut her immediately. So thankful to have a doe down. Gonna be able to cut this deer up, get some nice steaks out of here. I made a point to pick out a doe that did not have a fawn, and she was the one that was acting all jumpy, so it was the perfect animal to take. So that's number 2 for this season. Well, today epitomizes a lot of the emotions that you feel as a hunter, especially a bow hunter. It's awesome to wake up with the sun, get out, see nature, see everything come out. It's just this voyeur to the world, not knowing you're there. Beautiful to see these animals running around. Exciting to take a shot, see that deer fall. But then sad. Not guilty, not quite, maybe a little bit of remorse, but you definitely feel something seeing that animal die. And I don't like to see an animal suffer. So having to personally finish off a doe with the knife is a little tough. And it stirs you up a little bit inside. But then I think back on it, and I think how cool it was to see this deer in her own habitat. There's tons of deer, so I don't feel guilty about the population. And how cool it's gonna be to be eating this free range meat, and how it's gonna just taste awesome, and I'm gonna be thankful for harvesting this myself. And well, I guess thankful is the other theme ultimately. I'm just glad to be able to get out here and do this, be very personal, very direct about harvesting my own meat. So a lot of emotions involved, but this old doe, she's not an old doe, young one, but with no fawn, so great candidate to take. This is gonna be great meat for the freezer. So about to cut her up. Hope you found this interesting. Hope you enjoyed this. More hunting footage coming up. I'll move into rifle season here shortly. And just stay tuned. Until next time, stay safe, be free, and never stop seeking adventure.